Good afternoon. We're coming to you from the Community Center at St. Demetrius Greek Orthodox Church. It's another session of Grow, the logistics of our St. Demetrius community right now. With me is the president of the community, Kyriakos Ramonis, and Father Joseph Saman, our priest. So today we wanted to reach out and sort of update you on things that are going on and keep you in the loop and hopefully find you well and beginning to adapt and be able to move around as we anticipate openings of certain things. Certainly we all know by now that the first wave of opening from the state governor did not mention or allow churches to exceed their 10 people in a service guidelines they've had. And Kyriakos will update you on the guidelines from the Archdiocese in just a moment. I want to start out with a thought from the standpoint of last week. We were in church and we had Sunday of Thomas. And if you remember the story, Christ had appeared to the apostles right after his resurrection and had come into the room to see them even though the doors were locked. And Christ was, when Christ was there, St. Thomas was not. So St. Thomas told the apostles that he would have to touch the wounds of Christ to believe that Christ had indeed been resurrected and see him with his own eyes. And the gospel goes on to talk and say, glory to the people who do not see Christ but still believe in him. The reality of it is at this time in our lives and what we're doing, Christ is present in your church, Christ is present in your home, and more than ever, the home has taken on a role of being the church. They're all linked together. It gives new meaning to when we talk about stewardship for the church, we talk about the greater church. This gives a great and new meaning to that factor. So rather than me go on, let's talk to Kyriakos. Kyriakos, you have an update in regards to the Anastasi candles and the services and that. Tell us what's on your mind.
Yeah, thank you, Tasso. Greetings to everybody out there. I hope everyone is continuing to stay safe and practice the social distancing that works for them. You know, we just did the Anastasi candle pickup this past week, and we had an overwhelming response. There are some left, so as a result, the parish council wanted to extend the ability for people to come and get that Anastasi candle if you weren't able to come in this past week. Maybe you're feeling a bit more comfortable to step outside this week now that some things will be opening back up. So Monday and Tuesday again, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. and 7 p.m., there will be members of the parish council available in the church for you to come inside. If you want to say a quick prayer there in the narthex, you're more than welcome to, and pick up your Anastasi candle. So we will be running that again this week so that hopefully we can get some more of those candles out to everybody. Secondly, we are planning a virtual coffee hour, which will take place on Sunday, May 17. Now, the following week from now is Mother's Day, so we figured we'd probably get a little bit better turnout from everybody if we did it on the 17th. And how that is going to work is through Zoom. The parish council has been meeting through Zoom, so we're going to open up the account and create a meeting ID for our parishioners to join virtually immediately following the Divine Liturgy on Sunday, May 17th, so that everyone can just get into a room. There will be a couple moderators there. Johnny Louises and Sean Kramer will moderate the coffee hour, and they will allow everybody an opportunity to speak to the rest of the community and just kind of say hello, maybe how you've been spending your time, because the reality is, even when we're able to open the church back up for services, there will be social distancing measures in place, and we don't think coffee hour will be allowed quite yet immediately. I think that'll come down the road probably a couple weeks or a month away. So this will give everybody an opportunity to just see and speak to the other members of the community, gather the kids around the tablet so that they can see some of the other kids maybe that they haven't seen during this time, and some other people as well. If you're tentative about a Zoom meeting, I will say that one of our parish council members, Miss Irene, was tentative about doing Zoom meetings, and she's adapted quite well, wouldn't you say, Father?
Very well.
Yeah. So it's not, if you have any issues or concerns about how to join the Zoom meeting, please contact the church office. We'll have instructions for you. Look for the meeting links, the NAI meeting ID in the bulletin, and we'll get those out to you as well. We do have the directive still from the Metropolis to continue just live streaming services, and so that's why we are continuing to do that. Even though the governor of state of Florida did not limit churches, we've been limited through the Metropolis, so we do want to honor that request as well. That's what's been the hard part about this process. Obviously, we're getting direction from the government, we're getting direction from our religious entities. So, to try and balance all that, we have to sit here and meet and continue and discuss the protocols and go with what's being said. And, it's been working. I think people have been getting used to it. I know we're still wanting to get everybody back in church. All I ask is you be patient, vigilant, and eventually we'll get back in there. Now, with that being said, the church is not closed by any stretch of the imagination. Father Joseph has been continuing the services, and he's been continuing to see people that may need a little bit extra attention. So, with that being said, Father, contact him, and he can meet you and let you know what would be the best route for the two of you to proceed. If you have any special concerns, requests, wishes, prayers, that's what Father Joseph is here for, and he's asked me to relay that message to you, that the church is not closed. So we do want to stretch that. We do want to stress that. But that being said, please continue to remain vigilant. Thank you for tuning into these updates. I'll pass it back over to Tasso and Father for their segment here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diego. Just clarification. If people show up to light their candle at 6 o'clock or 6:30 and there's a 7 o'clock service, there's no one in the church, are they going to be allowed to sit in the church? I know that's a question that's been asked a lot.
I know, and we've been trying to limit it to 10 people. So if that were the situation, and I would say just check with Father Joseph beforehand to make sure there isn't some kind of special request that he's already managed, because that may create a conflict where we go above and beyond what we're asked to do right now by the Archdiocese.
So let me ask you, before the closure on March 20th, how many Zoom meetings have you been on in your life?
Zero. Yeah.
I've been on 3 in 5 years.
Yeah, I've never done one. So.
How many you do a week now?
Doing 2 to 3 probably right now a week. So.
I'm going about 7 to 10.
Yeah.
So times are changing for us. Father, I mentioned that Christ is present in our homes. He's present in the church, and the church is present in our homes as well, mostly by the activity that they practice in the home. And still we are looking for Anastasis candles to be made and brought in, right?
Actually, we put hold on that because we have more than what we need.
Okay.
So
right.
the
program was a success.
Very much so. I mean, I have some people who mailed the candles.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that we had to put a hold because we just couldn't take all those candles. But if we need them...
Well, there's an easy answer. Just try having 2 services a day like you did during Harley Week.
No, we have next week services every day.
Go to 2 a day. That's what football teams do when they're getting ready.
You're a humorist, also.
So, Father, tell us what your impressions are of as we've grown through this dilemma, and people have been forced. You've seen beautiful pictures of how people have taken their homes and converted them to worship sanctuaries. What's your impression you take away at this point of what you've experienced?
Christos Anesti, first of all, we are still within the 40 days of the resurrection of Christ. If anything, the corona has done to the church, it glorified the church. The corona has made us rediscover and realize that the first temple is the heart of man. Even the athletes, monks who spent hours and hours every day for decades of prayers, and they are part of the prayers at the church, they recognize the fact that the most important prayer is the one that takes place one alone at home, and where God dwells in the heart of the person. So the corona brought this back. And also the other element that the corona glorified in the church, all the insignificant, unimportant functions that were just distraction to the church, they went away, and the real elements that are truly church elements, such as the grace and the prayers and the healings and the comfort and being able to connect with God and establish this personal relationship, these are the eternal element of the church. they came to the surface. So we're not using the building, we're not having fundraisers, we're not having gatherings, we're not having entertainment, and the church is going even stronger. So this is a real eye-opening for all of us that got distracted with things that were nice, but were not essential.
So, Father, last week we had St. Thomas. Tomorrow we have the myrrh-bearing women. And if we think it's a daunting task to stay with this worship format that we now have, think about what we have today as the Christian churches and Christianity. It began with 3 women going to the tomb and announcing the resurrection of Christ. So I think 2 things. Number 1 is we have to continue to live and spread the word of Orthodoxy, because as one of the seminarians said here several years ago, he was a convert, he said, well, one thing I recognize about Orthodoxy and appreciate it is that Orthodoxy is hard. And the second thing is that, once again, the maternal role of the church, the role of the women in the church is magnified. We tend to focus too much that, well, it's a priest and that, and it's only male priests and stuff, but the role of the woman in the church, in growing the church in the early days and servicing the church, certainly is reiterated by the myrrh-bearing women.
You know, I think it is a fallacy about the role of women in the church as something that is not important. Either through the life of the church, the early stages of the church, the women that minister to the Lord are present, and they are present very strongly. The mother of the Lord was the mother of the church, and she was the main figure after his resurrection for the church. And there is even a service in monasteries where there is always a piece of bread dedicated to the Mother of God, because she's considered to be there. And we have all the mothers of the church throughout history. So I don't know how or where this fallacy started, but it's not part of the real theology or teaching or the practice of the church.
Right.
You know, but also the church is about the true meaning of love and the true practice of love. In English, we have one term for love.
Right.
It's a poor rendering, but in Greek and other languages, there are many terminologies that describe a different type of love. And not every type of love is a healthy or genuine love. So what the church teaches people is to learn how to taste, how to find, how to enjoy the true love.
The agape.
The agape, yes.
So that concludes our session this week. Christos Anesti. We hope that you're staying safe, blessed, strong, and together at home. We hope that the stir craziness of it is something that you're being able to deal with. We hope that you're blessed. As always, I would tell you that every day that Father has a service, he prays for you, he blesses you, and we all think of you. God bless you, and we look forward to talking to you again.